Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Design Lecture Series 2025. It is truly a privilege to gather all of you here today to see and to be virtual on the inspiring and thought-provoking journey into the world of design. As we embark on the year of Design Lecture Series, I would like to thank our convener, Architect Shukran and Architect Xingfong, and also our project officer, Nick and Nurul, to come out together with our Design Lecture Series 2025 with our first season on tropical sustainable architecture. Over the coming weeks and months, we will be joined by renowned designer architects from around the world who will share their insight, challenges, and vision for the future of design. From architecture to design, from digital to physical architecture. The series will explore both tropical sustainable architecture all the way to placemaking architecture on our season 2. Beyond the lecture and presentation, this is a space for dialogue, a space for us to exchange ideas, questions, and envision what the future design could have. That is the reason why we are continuing our open mic for second season this year. Let's make the most of the opportunity to reflect, to push our boundary, and to reimagine the future of design together. And with that, I'm thrilled to officially announce that Design Lecture Series 2025 and Open Mic Night officially launched. Let's dive in and enjoy to make this year one to remember. Thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you, Architect Rintan. Now we are delighted to officially launch Design Lecture Series and Open Mic Night 2025. I would now like to invite again Architect Rintan and Architect Sonic Fong, the co-convener for DLS2025 and Open Mic Night 2025, to join me on stage for the ribbon cutting ceremony to officially inaugurate the event. Thank you. Next, we are thrilled to present our first Open Mic Night presenter for tonight, Mr. Wong Kwok Keng, who will be sharing his insight on his architecture, work, and competition. Before that, let me introduce our presenter. Mr. Wong Kwok Keng is a Part 1 architecture graduate from UCSI University. His design philosophy emphasizes extensive discovery and explanatory narratives. Thoughtfully, throughout his studies, he's actively participated in various extracurricular activities, including competitions, dilapidation studies, exhibitions, and publications. Some of his work has been featured in the International Architecture in 2022, the book Pajautopia, Tales of Borneo Seas and the Malaysian Art Ecosystem Festival in 2021. In 2022, he was among the top 13 finalists of the design competition, Micro Housing and Penang Urban Sculpture Design Competitions. Please join me on stage, Mr. Wong, Kwok, Keng.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, architects and designers. I'm KK from UCSI University. First and foremost, thank you for having me here today. I'm really honored to have been selected and to have the opportunity to present my work here as part of the PAM Open Mic presenter. I would like to start off with this submission for the international competition, Architizer One Drawing Challenge in 2022. Consider this my magnum opus out of all my works. This is an A1 size drawing, drawn separately with fine liner, ink and paint on 2 A1 papers, scanned and combined. The drawing, the post-apocalyptic debrisity of Semporna. You see here is a capriccio depicting a dystopian Semporna, a township in eastern Sabah, as a debrisity, which is a city full of debris, serving as a reminder that anthropogenic coastal and ocean debris is never another speculation but a reality. The term capriccio means a fantasy composition that combines real and imaginary architectural elements. Every single detail, element, and ingredient is part of the imagination I express to convey the narrative of the drawing as a whole. The notion of this drawing is to question the precarity while disseminating the importance of waste management and striving for the betterment of the settlement and marine life of Semporna. Water bodies across the globe share the same fate in that unless we become more conscious about the impact of marine debris, they are destined to bear the brunt of human activities. From this slide, the drawing tells us in parts about the disastrous effect of human negligence of anthropogenic ocean debris, like fish bombing, living things, and debris entangled in discarded nets, accumulation of household debris, sometimes washed ashore, animals feeding on plastics, and so on. This is one of my works featured in the book Bajautopia, Tales of Borneo and Sea Nomad, the anticipatory arc of debrisity. I would like to read a quote from a French oceanographer, Jacques-Yves Cousteau. He said, "Water and air, the two essential fluids on which all life depends, have become global garbage cans. Water is inarguably a quintessential element to support all forms of life. Yet paradoxically, human narcissism has laid and continues to lay waste to cities that are granted access to the paramount gift of nature, water." According to UNEP, an estimated 8 million tons of plastic enters our ocean every year. And this shocking number is only the tip of the iceberg. The prevalence of ocean debris issue poses serious environmental threats to Semporna and its ecosystem, despite the local efforts conducting effective cleaning programs. This project hypothesizes the possibility of a pre-dystopian state of the site corresponding to the waste mismanagement issue. The question is, what if we could launch the anticipatory arc equipped with a state-of-the-art system to combat the continuous issue of anthropogenic coastal waste mismanagement and ocean debris in Semporna? The site is located at Kampong Bangau, Semporna, Sabah. It has a special ethnic group of maritime Southeast Asian people called Sama Bajau. These sea gypsies have been continually living a nomadic life with no citizenship, carrying out trading and subsistence fishing in the biologically diverse waters of Semporna. However, the anthropogenic ocean debris disaster has adversely affected the site and livelihoods of the people. Anticipating the destructive impact of ocean debris and progressing towards net zero waste effort is a singular concept articulated to revamp the site and help the people. This is the initial illustration for the ideation of the anticipatory arc. The concept behind this proposal lies in the narrative of the arc. Anticipate is defined as to foresee and predict the future occurrence of something, and to act in advance of, especially with preventative measures, while the ark was a ship built by Prophet Noah to save his family and two of every kind of animal from the great flood. Metaphorically, anticipating a speculative event allows us to predict the worst possible postulated outcomes of anthropogenic ocean pollution in the next few decades or centuries. This anticipatory arc is deployed to clean up the marine debris around Semporna. In our quest to repent what we have done to nature, anticipatory arc emerges solving the issue of ocean debris in Semporna and eventually the 5 oceans in the near future. It is essentially designed to function as the mothership debris harvester, as you can see from this sectional perspective, patrolling the site. It has deployable high-tech subunits like trash collecting modules, fish deterrents, and microplastic filter feeders designed specifically to go into narrow areas under the stilt houses or unreachable areas to harvest various types of ocean debris ranging from microplastics to large floating objects. So moving on to the next one, you see here is the competition hosted by PAM in early 2022, the Masjid Jami' Sultan Abdul Samad sketching competition. So this is my submission. I did the black and white fine liner sketch. I use this style because honestly I'm not very good with colors, but it also emphasizes the essence of the subject by highlighting the intricacy of the lines and details. It evokes a sense of timelessness, showcasing the embodiment of a deep cultural and architectural heritage. This unique combination of Indo-Saracenic, Mughal and Moorish architecture style mosque is also one of the oldest mosques in Malaysia, located at the center of Kuala Lumpur, where the two rivers, Keng and Gombak rivers met. Coming to the third of the quartet, the International Impact Design Competition, Microhousing. This submission was done in a team of 3, including me, led by a senior of mine. The brief is to design a prototype of a microhousing unit of less than 35 square meters that reflects the personal needs and culture of the residential community, chosen in an urban context with a relevant site. Each unit comprises a sleeping space, a common sit-out space, a kitchenette, a bathroom, and storage. Space-saving and multifunctional furniture are key elements that tackle serious space crunch issues. The notion here is to accommodate more units on lesser floor space and at an affordable price point, especially in dense core neighborhoods or next to a major transit route. The site chosen is a section of the Link Bridge adjacent to the vacant land and Menara UOA, tucked within Bukit Bintang and KLCC area, which will often be prioritized for high-rise building. My team and I tackled the brief by utilizing the existing pedestrian link bridge above Jalan Perak as an extension for micro-housing units. Besides minimizing land usage, it ensures connectivity of key activity nodes from both Bukit Bintang and KLCC to the commercial zone and office zone. Ethereal ephemerality, the title, literally means otherworldly impermanence, challenges the natural ontological order of spatial features via exploring time, memory, and space transformation, evoking new conceptions of spaces as spatio-temporal continuants. The ideation of capsule terraces in micro-housing reimagines the configuration of ever-changing spaces, utilizing maximum functional area, and reflects the spatial permutation to different eventualities as the user progresses through minor transitory records of everyday life anecdotes. Each micro-housing unit comes in the form of a prefabricated capsule assembled on-site in a uniformly terrace-like manner. The design is suitable for white-collar groups, professionals, or even expats, creating the epitome of an ethereal and ephemeral urban living experience. Last but not least is the submission for Penang Light City Urban Sculpture Design Competition. So the brief is to address Penang as the Pearl of the Orient, a gem and a melting pot of culture. The pearl symbolizes the island, and when sunlight shines upon it, everything comes alive. Light epitomizes the essence of all life, but for life to form and flourish, water must be the cradle. So I did 2 submissions for this project. The first submission is the light axiom, meaning the principles of light. The sculpture proposition is again centered around the notion of light, followed by water as the core of life. The design is inspired by the resemblance of Penang in Malay, which means the island of areca nut. Light and water metabolize the areca nuts, a symbolism of life, which are embedded in the acrylic rods at each of the tip of the sculpture. And when dusk falls, the sculpture will begin to light up. This is the design process and the rendering of the final rendering of the sculpture. Proceed to the second submission is the spectrum, defined as the range of colors produced by the separation of the components of light by their different degrees of refraction according to wavelength. The idea is based on the concept of spatial contemplation using fundamental forces of nature, light, water, refraction, and reflection to stimulate a whimsical user experience towards the sculpture. The design is inspired by the resemblance of Penang Island as a shining pearl in a clam, surrounded by vast ocean water. The sunlight hits the water, and the opalized finishing beneath creates a spectrum of rainbow-like colors as the water undulates perpetually. The sunlight then refracts from the water and finally reflects to the warped steel surfaces, demonstrating how the users are seen as the pearl encapsulated by the sculpture. This is the design processes and the rendering. I personally like the first one better. However, this submission was the selected one because it follows the brief. And so I've come to the end of the sharing, and thank you for your time. I hope my sharing benefited all of you here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wong, Kwok, Keng, for that informative presentations. It was really eye-opening, especially on the first project, on how we architect can contribute in reducing down the debris on the waters in the Borneo. Next, we would like to express our gratitude to today's sponsor, Kansai Paint Asia Pacific Sidian Mirhat, to their generous support of the event. We would like to invite Ms. Q Wei Yi, Senior Sales and Marketing Manager, on stage to share on the product. Please welcome to the stage.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Keel. Of course, I'm very Kansai Paint. I'm also actually working for a whole industry for paint and coating. I'm the secretary for Malaysian Paint and Coating Manufacturer Association since year 2012. Okay, so I'm long enough in this industry. If you have any problem with the industry on paint and coating, you actually can come to me on behalf of the associations. So on behalf of Kansai Paints, thanks for having us tonight and wishing you everyone Happy New Year, hopefully not too late. Kansai Paint, we always position ourselves as a 360-degree paint and coating partner, and we are a truly Japanese company, which actually our HQ based in Osaka. And of course, we cover 105 countries, and we have 89 manufacturing plants. In Malaysia, our plant's actually in Bukit Raja. If you want to organize a plant tour to understand how we manufacturing our paint and coating, welcome to approach any of our colleagues. Actually, we can arrange, and you can actually come to my factory to see how we actually produce our products. And we have 908 chemists all over the world and close to 17,000 workforce around the world. So when we mention a 360 paint and coating partner, basically you need to cover all these 4 segments, which is the industrial coating, automotive coating, architectural coatings or decorative coating, and marine or protective coating. So actually we cover all these 4 segments. And for Kansai, we only focus on one thing, paint and coating, and how to make the world become better with our products. So architectural coating is very much related to every one of you, and of course under protective coating, which is what we call waterproofing, flooring, actually is fall under this category. So this is our report card, not so high profile, but actually we have quite a good reputations in globals. We are number 1 in Japan for automotive coating and number 2 in Japan in group sales. And in Malaysia, we're actually number 3. Number 3 in Asia Pacific and number 9 in globals. So we are the top 10 paint and coating companies. And of course, we have Kansai Paint, 100% owned by Kansai Japan. And we have Sam Kansai, 60% owned by Kansai Japan and 40% owned by Sam Dabi Motor. And Sankora, one of our partners, owned by Kansai Paint. If you have used texture coating before, this is actually under Sankora brand. So all under our Kansai groups. So besides that, what we mentioned, we are the leading automotive coatings. Most of the car in Malaysia is actually using our coating. I would say 80% of the market shares. So no matter what the brands, actually you are using our car coatings, which actually will protect your vehicle under the sun, under the weathers, or even rain. So we actually apply the same technologies into our coating as well. So now car coatings actually already moved to water-based. You will be surprised, Perodua is the first company that actually using water-based for their coating, top coat. So we also supply to the biggest cars manufacturer in the world, Hot Wheels, all using Kansai Paint. Because this one actually have to be child-safe requirements, because we expected the child actually would bite. So this product is actually in our production line, they have a special line to produce this product, because they have to aware of others' chemical. So we also do a lot of our project, which is very related to you. We have quite a number of key customers that we work closely, government, non-government, even semi-governments. And of course, we also certified by Petronas. If you have any oil and gas project, you can come to us. And we named ourselves a one total solution provider for paint and coating. We might be famous on all the car coatings and decorative, but actually we have everything. Even you mentioned floor coatings, and even waterproofing and marine coatings. We bring some panel like spot for rings outside. You can have a look later. And of course, exterior is whatever we mentioned that you are using for most of your building and design. So not to worry, I have my color consultant team to give you my color scheme. So if you have problem to choose color, let us advise you. So for interior, I have a wide range of products. Whatever you sell, we sell to project, actually also the same product available in my retail. We don't do any different grade for project or retail. All my product is actually one grade for both segments. So that's why I welcome you to my factory to see how we do a manufacturing run. We don't actually have different qualities for our project retail. So today will be more highlight on the protective coatings. I think most might not aware that actually we do have a lot of good products. This is underwater epoxy, which actually we supply a lot to offshore, especially for binning, your jetty or whatever, which is actually painted under the water because you cannot remove the sea waters. So this is a solution for you. So I think just now KK did mention you have an ARC project. I think maybe you need this product for your project as well. So this is our technologies, and we sell quite a lot to oil and gas, especially offshore, and also in pinning. So we also have anti-carbonation coating. It's one of the JK aspect, if not mistaken. We completed the pinning second bridge. So they are now doing for a tender job. It's going to kickstart soon. It's also a Kansai product. And of course, the roof coatings. This one is more on the higher grades compared to normal roof tile paint, which is fall under decorative. And this is what we do for your metal roof repainting. Yeah. Some of our project. And of course, we have concrete protections. We also have anti-static floor coatings, spot floorings, which we also have it in retail. And you can have some panel outside, which we brought it also. And we do some spot flooring. And recently, we also do some pickleball court. I think it's quite famous, which I think the latest project is actually take up 7 colors for a pickleball court in JB. So even raising, falling, and also we have a waterproofing, which is a polyurea grade, the highest grade of waterproofing. So recent completed project that I only want to share few is because we actually have color scheme teams actually give you the proposal of what color to use. This is actually along Federal Highway next to Subang Perak area. Yeah, this is Aurora Basubang Jaya by Sam Dabi. And also we completed one Rumah Selangorku. And also this is the color that we propose. Of course, as we know, exterior color sometimes is a bit sensitive. That's why we have our color consult team, our spec team, to choose the right color for your project. And also we completed Almina Lakeside Mall. At the same time, this one is another Malaysia Halal analysis at Milai. And also, we do a lot of quarry painting for Aeon. This is the latest Aeon Book Indah. We also completed Aeon Tun Husin on, Aeon Malakas. This is our project. And we also do a lot of quite a repainting segment. And for Aeon Book Indah, they are using exterior paint for interior. Yeah, they are using our Kansai weather coat for their interior. Yeah, that's their requirements. And also, we have a Tabung Haji project, which we have 2 different tones of green and gray. So in our Kansai, we always look at the solutions for our buildings, how to make it better. So this is one of the projects we done in our own factory. We have a very serious crack wall, you can see. So we painted this October year 2023, which is actually more than 12 months. We actually want to see, if let's say we don't repair the crack line, have our product settle this problem. So after we check, after 12 months, more than 12 months, actually it really helps. You know, the building crack don't expand, and actually the paint color also not faded after 12 months. So we always have the solutions for you. If let's say your building have any problem, come and talk to us. We will give you the solutions. Of course, this is not a normal paint and coating. It comes a special coating. Okay? So that's all from my side. Hope you enjoy tonight. Hopefully I'm not too early to wish you 恭喜发财. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Q Wei Yi, for that informative presentation. Now, without further ado, I am honored to introduce our speaker for the evening, architect Choo Kim Wah from Choo Kim Wah Architect, who will be presenting on the architecture in harmony. Architecture, Choo he did his Master of Architecture from Oxford, Ohio, and double major in Economics and Study Arts. Founded Choo Kim Wah Architects in 2008, known for his unique approach of blending architecture with natural landscape. Choo's design aimed to create building that coexist seamlessly with the terrain. His most notable project, the Canvas Hill Residence, earned the silver medal at the PAM Awards 2021 in the single residence category, showcasing his expertise in integration architecture with challenging environments. His works such as the Deck House, Small Haven, and Kensington Heights have been featured in publications like D+A, Arch Daily, and Archello. Please join me on stage and welcome architect Choo Kim Wah to the stage.
Hi, can you hear me? Yeah? Hi. Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming, and thank you, Pam, for inviting me. Okay, I think they have introduced my background, so I will straight and talk about the work. Okay, I started working in early 90s. At that time, it was an interesting period where CAD was not used commonly. I still remember I started working and half of the office used hand draw, and half the younger architects, draftsmen all use CAD. So it's an interesting time, like even bungalow submission all drawn by hand. And then at the same time, it was during the crazy economic boom during the 90s, and every young architect, they handle like 8 to 10 projects, You most of the time stay in the office until 2, 3, 4 a.m., things like that. And then another interesting part for those who can still remember that every drawings is printed out using the very smelly blueprint. So some guy in the office always stay back to run the ammonia machine and smell like crap. So those are the times. And then in 1998, after working for a few years in Penang due to Asian economic crisis, I moved down to KL to look for a job. That's how I begin to get involved in projects in Tanah Rimba, the very beautiful forest area. Okay, and then 2008, I set up my own sole proprietor practice, Choo Architect. Okay, throughout my whole career of slightly more than 30 years. In the early part during the boom, as most other young architects, I was involved in, at that time there was a lot of big, huge American factory in Penang. So I was part of it, and then later on it was doing some development, commercial, like high-rise, apartment, things like that. But I always find that somehow I like to try to explore design in the building forms, space, and the detailing. So somehow, slowly, I got pushed a bit and bit towards more and more the bungalow development. Somehow, it's not by choice. Like I only want to do bungalow. It's not like that. It's just somehow I was directed there eventually. So over many years, so every time there's a bungalow development so the number one guy in the office, they always look for me, because maybe he's had to look into the details and all these things, and very demanding client and things like that. Okay, so that's how it started, and then okay, so let me see. So okay, we shall go to the slides. So I choose 4 projects to present this evening. And those projects doesn't mean that they are the best looking or the best project. It's not at all. It's more like it represents different set of challenges, and completely different challenges are all within the hill slope area. And it happens to be all 4 bungalows are located in Tanah Rimba, Jandabai. This one I've been working on and off on projects there since I stepped foot in KL in 1998. So even after I set up my own practice, there are continuous projects are coming in. So this 4 projects will represent different kind of slope terrain, the steepness, and all these sets of problems. And I only present 4 projects so that we will go slightly more in depth in looking into these 4 projects. Okay, this is sort of like a SOP before every project. Just like we, number one, look at the survey plan, very, very important. Then we look at the gradient of the slope, very importantly. And then especially the last 1 or 2 years, Majelis Bentong, anytime you have projects steeper than 25 degrees, now it's a nightmare. You even need a EIA, you need all sorts of environmental drawing requirements. So gradient of slope is very important. Then the next one issue is access and driveway. Okay, because how you get from the public road to the building platform, whether it go up the hill, down the hill, and then the third thing is existing element on site, the existing trees, rocks, anything, sometimes cluster or bamboo, things like that. And this is also interesting in a sense that the survey plan is not always correct, that sometimes you look at survey plan, the tree is here, but then when you go outside, the tree is 5 meters away, things like that. So this is fourth one is very, very important, is where most architects draw their inspiration is the view. Then later I'll show you some of the view of the tree, some view of the landscape, some view of the horizon, view of the mountain, different. So this one is very critical as to why so many people move out of KL to this area. And then the fourth one, the last one is a detailing. As every architect, we enjoy doing details, detail between different component, element and things like that. Okay. This first house is Canvas Hill Residence. It won a PAM award, I think it's 2021 silver medal. So the client is a famous local artist. So for this project, when the client first bought the land, he's actually an old client of mine. Around 2005, I designed his first house. So this is second house. Now I'm working on other projects with him. So he's been a very good supporting client. So his medium is actually acrylic painting. So he liked to paint. So we designed this whole house as I explained to you the design concept and detailing. The whole site and the building, it serves as a canvas for his artwork, Later on you'll see. So okay, when he first bought the site, so he was very excited. Then he invited me to go see the site. So the site, there is a few small flat area. Only a few small flat area, and the whole site is going uphill. So from the beginning, the flat area on the slightly higher platform, it was very sure that we want to retain it as a courtyard to the project. And then he would, as a renowned local artist, he would like to experiment, see if we can fit into a courtyard with a sort of traditional Chinese courtyard house into the slope. So this is very challenging in a sense, because normally traditional Chinese courtyard, as you can see, is mostly available in an urban area where the land are flat. But this is on a hill slope. So we try to navigate the slope around that. And then the functional requirement for this project is there's 3 zones. One is public area, where it is a gallery for his artwork and also his private collection. And then at one corner of the gallery is his private painting studio. Then the next element is his private residence. And what you see here on the right, sorry. This whole pavilion is a 2-story wing. Is actually the living dining room on this level, and then all the 3 bedrooms on top. So this is the entrance gate, and then there's a moon gate here. Yeah. So and then the last function, the third function is a guest room wing. So that what he wanted is because he traveled quite frequently. This is before COVID. So he wanted the building, the guest room and the pantry and the kitchen area to be able to use by his relative or friends or people close to him when he's not away, without disturbing his private living dining space and things like that. So it's with this program, plus on a hill slope and a limited flat area for the courtyard, so we try to derive a schematic and layout to try to have all these different functions staggered and layered together, Okay, so this is how it started. This is the flat area, roughly. Oh, before I start, okay, there's a first flat area here on site. This is a car park for the public. for his friends. So from this flat area, you can walk up here or drive up here. So the private car park is on top. So this is the gallery and his and sort of studio. And then this is a living dining, kitchen, and then this is a bedroom, this is a courtyard, and then this is a pair of guest room on the other side. So, and then if you look at this axonometric, sorry. If you look at this axonometric, so, and then this is a road coming up, and then this is an entrance, and then this is a gallery, and this is artist studio, and then there's a flight, you can hear me, there's a flight of staircase going up here, reaching this entrance statement, and from here there's a moon gate, and then which is you're facing the courtyard. And then as you can see, this courtyard is flanked by building on two sides. One is a 3-story building here, and the other side is a pair of guest room, and then there's a private corridor, and then this wet kitchen here. And then on the fourth side is surrounded by this infinity pool. So from this side, if you look out this way, all the way, you can see Genting Resort. Okay? So and then you have a private staircase on the inside. Then this one can go up to, on the first floor, there are 3 bedrooms here for him and his kids. So this is a very simple but sometimes yet quite complicated layout. Yeah, so this is the plan. I think I'll hold it. Hi, okay, this is the plan. So this is the driveway coming up. Oh, much better. Okay, this driveway coming out, this is a public car park. So you're coming out to here. This is a entrance and then the moon gate. And then this is a private wing. You notice that here at the end of this private wing here, facing the Genting Resort, and so is this swimming pool. This is where he hang out most of the time, and then there's a courtyard here, and then a pair of guest room here. So meaning that the people who stay in this guest room, when he's away, he just have to lock up this door and all the glass door here. So people can continue to use the pool, and maybe make some Maggie mee here. I myself, with my family, stay here over one weekend when he's away. Test first. Okay, so as what I mentioned to you just now, it's important. The existing site element is quite important when we adopt the design. So as you can see here, these are stone discovered on site, So we use it as a part of the retaining structure. And then on site there's also some timber, but timber untreated, we would not use it for timber, but maybe they use it for landscape element and things like that. So the whole building, the 3-story wing is staggered up here. And then we try to make the design look like, especially the top 2 floors. That's why some of the structural member, we use steel I-beam and things like that. And then this is the lower ground floor, the gallery, where we use heavier off-form concrete and things like that. Yeah. So as you can see here, even though this is sort of quite a, I would think, modern design concept, but still, for this house, we try to infuse in all the traditional element, like wood and to a certain extent, certain traditional element or even vernacular element. So we try to play with different sort of element. We also don't want to have like hardcore, a cold modern building in Janabite, where actually the priority is actually the landscape and the trees and things around it. So as you can see here, even the handrail is of a wire mesh, it's very raw. So we use a lot of raw material, concrete, steel, glass, and brick, and timber. And then this one is a staircase going up to the main entrance. Okay, so these two shots on the left, you can see is a main entrance shot, and then and the second shot on the right is actually the moon gate. Okay, so it have retained quite a bit of traditional element, but use it in a modern context. And then you look at this, some of the trees in the center of the courtyard, they are original trees. So this client he loved the tree, sometimes he would move certain part of the building to allow the tree to survive. Even when I did his house, around his first house, 2005, I remember at that time, because of one tiny skinny tree next to his roof overhang, he cut a hole in the roof to allow the tree to maintain there. So I was quite surprised, So, but that was more than 20 years ago. So you can imagine he loved the trees, even small tree. If he can, he would relocate them. Okay, so on the left is his gallery. He have all his private collection and his own work. On the right, you can see him working on one end of the gallery. And what is interesting on the right-hand photo, that if you look at the ceiling is not just a concrete ceiling or whatever. It consists of a few layers of detailing. It's a timber deck. Below the timber deck is timber joist. Below the timber joist is a steel I-beam. And steel I-beam is then anchored to the concrete beam. So you can see this kind of detailing and language we consistently try to explore in all the other projects. It's like a layer upon layer of detailing. Sometimes to make it look heavy, we will tweak the detailing a bit. Sometimes to make it look light, we will tweak other way. Okay, so these are a few more like spatial shots. Okay, these shots on top is his favorite hangout place. That means he have his meal here. If he's alone, he'll sit here. When he have guests, he'll sit here. So what is interesting, he always tell me that if he likes your company, he will let you sit in this space. Then you can talk for a long time. He'll prepare food, snacks, fruit. Then if he's in a rush, he doesn't like your company, you'll sit inside. Yeah. So next time, whenever you're seated in, and then it shows whether you better get out of here. And then this is what is interesting about this house in Janabai is that we get to design both aisle facing out, all with full height glass. Because as you know, in a bungalow in an urban area, you'll be lucky to have one-sided glass, because the second side is all like kitchen, or bathroom, or laundry, something like that. So in Janabai, where land is 1 acre big, I think your flexibility is quite there. Yeah. And then this is a beautiful infinity pool. If you look out this way, you will see Genting Resorts at night. Again, this is some of his artwork. Mounted is on a brick wall. So again, the palette of color choice is a brick wall, timber, some area concrete, and steel and glass. So we keep it very, very simple and neutral and raw. Okay, this is the view from the bedroom above. So when it's at this level, you are probably above most of the trees around. So it's quite nice. Imagine every day you wake up to this kind of view. Life is good. And then on the right-hand side is a continuous balcony. On all sides of the building, on the living quarter and residential quarter, is with a very deep overhang balcony. So this will also help to shade the building from the sun, also the rain and everything. And then with a deep overhang. Again, if you look at the horizon, the view. That's why nowadays going to Janabai to get a house is quite popular. Okay, so this is another view where it shows at the part of the courtyard where it's flanked by both the living, dining, and the bedroom, and a pair of guest room. And you notice at one corner is an infinity swimming pool. So, but on this view, it seems that most of the construction is more like a lightweight steel and glass and timber kind of construction. But if you look at certain other view, it looks slightly heavier. So it's like all these detailing, that kind of feeling we try to portray. Okay, then as architect for this project, we also try out different detailing. For this project, what is we try is have it to run a staircase. Usually we have a I-beam stringer, right? But if stringer, single stringer, double stringer, I thought it's a bit boring. So actually, try to have a bit of fun. We cut the stringer into half, then it becomes 2T. You know, then we flip the 2T together, it becomes like a 2T. Then on top there's a steel plate support, so it becomes like a butterfly kind of support. And then a solid timber plank rests on top of it. Sometimes when we do this detail, frankly, I'm also not sure how stable it is, you know. So until it's get up there, then later you can see another staircase, a single stringer. Some of my young architects go out and jump up and down, so it's so far so good. So that's a beauty of doing a bungalow. There's a slight flexibility, not too much. Well, at the end, safety is still paramount. You know? We cannot compromise on the safety. So just now the butterfly staircase is this one. You can see here from underside. And then this is a single stringer staircase. We actually reduced the size a little bit. You know, the original size designed by the engineer was too humongous. So we look at it looks like really bad. Yeah. So we reduce the size a bit, and it looks okay, and it's holding up well. So ever since then, I've been using the same detailing, similar detailing, and then cantilever, one beam, things like that. So with this, sometimes the owner say that he is my guinea pig, you know. So I try out this. Partially, it's quite true. So this is the balcony. This is an important element of the building. This is roughly about 2.5 meter in cantilever. And then even the handrail is all wire mesh. At certain height, there's timber handrail. So in short, whenever your body touches a certain architectural element, to create certain level of comfort, I would instill some kind of timber. And not everything is timber, because it's just not right. And then you notice that, and then with a steel column here, also the I-beam column is all cladded with timber, so that we can hide the wiring, the cabling, M&E inside, and then the timber board allows one to mount the wall light. So it is a lot of this kind of detailing, you know, we have to work. So it was an interesting experience. So this is some of the design, the section of the building. This is cutting through the Moon Gate and the infinity swimming pool. Then this is the main section. This is important. As I say, this is a flat platform available on site. So we hardly change. It's just that we trim here the side a little bit, so to create a guest room. And then here we allow a 3-story wing here. So from this courtyard, the building looks like 2-story max, but from here it looks very tall. The first few photos, it looks really, really tall. Okay, so this is how it fits on site, which is quite a nice nice view there. It fits quite beautifully with the site. Okay, second project is the deck house. I did this probably 2010, 2011 at the time. So it was an experimental project. Again, this owner is also a very famous artist. That's why artists are doing very well. They hire architect, you know. So another very famous artist. So when first approached this, they just wanted a small weekend getaway house without any major function, any serious function, because they won't stay here for long. So the thing they want about 2-3 bedroom, maybe not a real proper kitchen, but you have some kind of pantry. But they enjoy outdoor. So as you can see, most people when they choose to stay in Janabai, it's all about outdoor. You know, indoor is not so important. In fact, if the weather allows, most of the time they'll be outdoor, drinking tea or or hang out with their family and friends, or cooking outside, things like that. So that's why the internal program, as long as comfortable, I think it's good enough. Then also at that time, this project started with 2008 or 2009, but it was built 2010, I believe, finished around 2011 or 2012. So at that time, it's also one of the very first time I try out on quite a lot of steel construction and things like that. So to me, it was quite new. And then anyway, this is tiny. It's only the whole building, only like 4,000 square feet. Out of 4,000 square feet, 1,500 is deck terraces. The internal is only 2,500 square feet. So 2,500 is equivalent to one semi-D today. So imagine this is a tiny house. But this project is located on a hill going down. So compared to the first one, it's going up. So you see the difference. So to avoid a lot of major excavation, so I locate the building at a certain platform, and the car park is separated away from the building. And then from the car park, you have to walk over a short bridge, about 5-6 meters towards the building. So this language I consistently try when you are faced with very difficult site, That means you cannot bring the car park like in KL, car park right outside your main door, Yeah, so you have to walk a good distance. So for this sense is going down, so I find that the major habitable space you'll be more efficient if it's going down. So, and then this client gladly accept it. So meaning that when you first enter from a bridge, so when you first enter, this from a sketch early on, this doesn't, it never get built, executed, it's only this guy. So you see the driveway coming down here, you cross the bridge, then this is the main area. Then you have a series of flying terraces or deck, So that means you come in here, half of it is a void, half of it is a master bedroom. So meaning that you can go straight to your master bedroom or take a staircase down to the living room underneath. Oh yeah, you see the contour is fairly even. You notice that this is very important. Contour is fairly even. Okay. So this is one of the earliest sketch, and at that time, 2010, no SketchUp yet. So there's AutoCAD, but no SketchUp, so he has to still draw by hand. So this is the idea. You have a car park, you walk over a bridge, and this is a void or a master bedroom on one hand. Then you come down, this is a living dining platform with a big, huge flying deck. So at that time, have a bit of fun. I thought I want to make this column really slanting, 30 degrees. My engineer objected. At the end, you only get 17 or 18 degrees. Because they say cannot, too dangerous. Yeah. So it's on this kind of language. The building, it grows slightly bigger as it goes down. Yeah. Okay, so on the top left is, as I say, the master bedroom at the highest level. And this master bedroom, it has a almost 7-meter wide frontage. So imagine every morning you wake up, you open up all the sliding door, you have 7-meter worth of view. It's quite breathtaking. And on one side of the master bedroom, you can look down to the living room, this glass. And then all this aluminum louver for ventilation. So this house, practically, you don't need much of aircon. So even till today, it still works quite well. Then this is the coming down here into the living room. So you can imagine, this is the living here. This is the IKEA furniture. So, and then this is a small dining room and small dry kitchen. And then this is the concept of the building. Because since they like outdoor, so that's why I always thought that normally we only consider infinity pool. So in this case, I thought if I have a flying and yet infinity deck, they will be quite good. So that's why I give it, this deck is like 13 meter long, 6.8 meter wide. So it's like going all out. So as you can see, at the end of this deck, certain part here, you can touch the leaf. And then all this, but to make this look floating, also again later I'll show you that you need quite a bit of exploring or tweaking or detailing. And then this is the terrace. You can see a layer of terraces. This is outside the master bedroom. This is a balcony. Going down is a deck. You see, all these are existing trees. So for these projects, unlike the first one, there's not much of a far horizon view. Unlike the first one, you have a bit of horizon view and Genting. This one, nothing much, but it's very dense with trees. So I think this is one good thing. So every project is different. As you can see, draw inspiration from different aspects of the land. This is one shot there on the left. You say from the entrance, you go down to the living, and then the living is separated by glass towards the external deck. So all this is in timber finishes. So it basically, it blurs the inside from the outside. It blends everything quite closely. Yeah. So the second photo on the right is tell you. So on the upper right is a master bedroom looking down, and you can see that the dining room is on one corner here, and then there's one guest room here. These two shots is important. On the left, it shows that I bring the circulation from the ground floor to the lower ground floor in terms of staircase. So, and this is some issue that I continue to explore even till today. The circulation. What is a circulation? Usually we would think of circulation is afterthought. You need 5 rooms, in between you have a corridor. But at that project, I begin to think about what do you mean by circulation? Even till today, I have some of my latest project which I don't have any photo. I turn the circulation into a major element, So this is one thing in bungalow you can do it. It's experiment. So in this one, I beginning to use the circulation to combine circulation, the flow with the living room. For example, circulation to enclose the living room, things like that. So I find that it's quite effective. Number one, it saves space. Number two, visually, they make the space looks bigger than what it is. So this space is only 5.5 meter, but it looks quite big because of its openness, the double story void, things like that. Okay, so this one is a deck, and what is interesting here is that between two spaces here, detailing, there's supposed to be a wall here, a column here. But I recessed the column inside so that between the two spaces, there's a steel and maybe 300 piece of glass or 500 piece of glass, so that this whole thing looks like seamless aluminum and glass. So a lot of this kind of small detailing, and I think this bungalow, you have to get involved in all this so that it looks like the whole facade is full of glass. And then on top, the whole facade, the master bedroom, sliding door, and then on top, everything is aluminum louvers for ventilation. Now this again, this view, the space, is what I hope to achieve from the beginning. Again, without SketchUp, use freehand. No choice. So this kind of follow like almost, but of course this one is almost a really long infinity deck, and I want the space to be as open as possible. But frankly, over the years, a lot of people ask me, "Oh, there's so much glass. Would it be hot?" It's a valid concern, valid question. But fortunately, in Janabai, the heat factor is slightly less, honestly. Yeah, if I were to do this project in KL or in Bangsar, then you have to be more careful. Maybe it won't be so much glass. You have to be maybe more louver, things like that. But in Janabai, you have a bit of a leeway because the climate is slightly more moderate. So this is to me, this shot is as important as the other 9 shots, because it shows especially the deck, the infinity, how it layer. Again, this last bit is cantilever. Again, on steel, timber, on steel anchor to the to the concrete. But from the outside, I wanted to make it look like it's floating, and then this is slightly slanting. So this is actually quite technical. It's not as people thought like, wow, it's floating, but it's very technical. We have to carefully construct each and every element. This is a section of the building cutting through the deck. So the deck is all floating. It doesn't have a concrete slab. Okay, and you can see the space, and then on both sides, they have a huge cantilever metal deck roof. Okay, this one is this project called Small Haven. Small Haven. Okay, one of my friends advised me on this name. It's quite cool. Take the client a while to digest and to agree to this term. Okay, anyway, this is a very, very small project. It's probably the smallest building I've ever done. Yeah, because as you can see, this site, the owner and his family and friends bought up quite a number of pieces of land here around the whole vicinity. So in the future, they're gonna build a small village for the uncle, auntie, whatever it is. So this, to be sure, he want to build a tiny dwelling of maybe 1 bedroom to try it out, see how does he like to be living in a jungle or semi-jungle environment. So for this site, again, the challenges is different. It's quite flat. In fact, it's one of the flattest land I've ever worked on. So it doesn't have all this up and down hill, all the horizon view, trees, So it presents another layer of challenges. How do you make this? And then furthermore, this building is visible from road. The first 2 buildings is almost cannot be seen from the road. So privacy is no problem. This one, in fact, now there are people who park their car, their buses to take photo of this house. So until the owner think that it's too much. It will become so popular that every weekend there are people who drive out there to take photo. So anyway, this project started. So the owner wanted to build a 1-bedroom bungalow to stay and to see if he like it, he may consider to build the future. I've designed quite a number of, some of them like 8,000, 9,000 square feet house like that. So I hope that they will want to build that soon to complement this development, this small development. So because of this, from the beginning, I look at this property, since it's very gentle, not much tough hill terrain challenges and things like that. So I thought we do a nice tropical house that have very strong Malay kampong house value, number 1. Number 2, personally, I'm quite impressed with Farnsworth House by Mies van der Rohe in Illinois, So it's also lightweight, it's sitting on stilts. But Farnsworth House had 2 main platforms. So if for all these factors that I drive, and then the inspiration for this project, can I get some water? Here, water. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so where was I? About a small house. Okay, so with this then, okay. So the main inspiration for this project is actually how to create, use this land, since, okay, this land is relatively flat compared to the first 2 projects. How do we encourage the owner to engage all aspects of the land? This is something good about this site. In fact, every site, whatever the condition, always have its pros and cons. Yeah, so this side is one thing is flat, and because it's flat, you can engage almost every other corner. Yeah, so it's with this. So that's why we started out this project. Okay, as you can see from this corner, it's a bit also a bit take an essence of actually the kampong house. Very lightweight, it's perching on top, metal deck roof. And then from this elevation is facing mostly the public road. So that's why from the beginning, he want to have some level of privacy. That's why you see more than half is a solid wall. Solid wall cladded with equitone that is imported. So there's only have a bit of glass here. And then the whole, there's a lot of terraces surrounding the whole house. Yeah. And then as you can see a bit, and also a building have a 2 platform from the deck coming down about 1.2 meter worth of staircase, external staircase, then is a second timber platform. So since it's a single story building, and because of the single pitch roof, on the higher pitch side, I managed to achieve a mezzanine floor, So the one below the mezzanine is a dining and kitchen, and on top of the mezzanine is just a mezzanine. So, and then this mezzanine floor with a window on the top, right, looking out, other than allowed ventilation, it also allowed a viewing point for the future development here, because these are natural slope. And surprisingly, this project, when they start digging, doing the earthwork, they found quite a big boulder on site. So we did not move the boulder or whatever. We turn it into part of the focal point for part of the building. And this is a humongous boulder, and it's quite majestic looking, yeah, which I'll show it to you. Oh, this is the concept and layout of the building. Okay, lower platform coming out, timber deck all around. Again, we have a big deck here where they do most of the day-to-day activity here. In fact, they have the meal here, they hang out here, things like that. That's why in Janabite, you always need some kind of balcony, deck, terraces, Okay, and then this is the indoor. You come in, it's a small kitchen, and then there's a TV room here, and then the spiral staircase to go out to the mezzanine here. And the rest is void. And then this is the one bedroom, only one bathroom. And then this is the boulder as a back. So this boulder serves as a focal point for the bathroom and outdoor tub. So this is the site plan. Because it's going up a few tiers, so we also use the rubble wall to form a few layer of terraces here in a sort of like a random and organic fashion. So that it's not the usual kind of straight line kind of thing, because the level going up is not very high. So that's why this building, even though it's tiny, it's very small, but because it's so small that we can do a lot of things that 2 or 3 story building cannot, So as an architect, sometimes maybe when you're given a small job, maybe not so bad. So this is the section of the site. This one is mainly to show the platform. As you can see, a few landscape terraces. All, again, we use the rubble we discovered from site. Yeah, this is the building section. This is a mezzanine floor. All timber deck, all timber. This is not deck, this timber plank. Because this owner, he's into timber supplying lumber. So he himself has lots of nice mobile timber that he used for inside, outside. Some of the timber slab here is about 40, 50 mm thick, It's seasoned timber, seasoned mobile. He won't use it for outdoor. And even though it's mobile, he told me that he guaranteed, because this is better than Chengao, because it's very seasoned, very old. Yeah, as you see the deck here, coming out here, this is where they hang out. In fact, this deck, owner told me during the whole COVID, his family and the 2 kids stay there. Quite nice, imagine COVID, lockdown in such a nice environment. And 2 kids would not sleep inside. They camp outside, The husband and wife sleep inside the bedroom. The two kids, they have two tents. They sleep outside. So they enjoy it, you know. Of course, there are a few dogs running around in case there's a animal coming in. Okay, these three picture, it show you a picture of, even though this is a small building, but different part of the finishes like timber ceiling, timber deck, equitone wall, glass, rubble stone terraces, even the lighting, everything, it works quite nicely and intimately with one another to form quite a holistic picture, you know. So even though, again, this is a small building, so the outcome is quite nice. In fact, the impact of this building is not much less than some of the bigger buildings, you know, from my exposure dealing with potential client, things like that. These are some of the detailing, you know, I-beam, roof beam, then we cut at the end, splice some of it, timber ceiling, and then on the top right is the timber joist for mezzanine. It's an old-fashioned detailing. You know, it's supported by metal bracket and welded to the I-beam beam. And then the last picture on the bottom right is a equitone cladding. Yeah, equitone cladding with timber deck, 2 layers of timber deck. Just now I mentioned about the boulder. So you can see from the there's only one bathroom. The bathroom, there you can see the boulder outside, which is quite nice. And then the boulder, between the boulder in the mid picture, boulder below is we turn into a small water feature. And below the boulder, they clad it with some smaller rocks. So they even have a water feature on top, you know. When they release the water flushed down the big boulder. It's quite interesting effect. Yeah, and the bathtub next to the boulder, I think they'll have a good time showering there or soaking in the bathtub. Quite an experience. Again, some of the interior spaces, you know, this spiral staircase to mezzanine floor on the left. What is interesting about this spiral staircase, the owner told me at that time, 2019, he have 2 young children. When they watch TV, he find funny, they won't sit in the sofa. They sit on a spiral staircase, you know. He couldn't understand why you want to sit in a spiral. Maybe it's more interesting. Yeah. So, and then you look at the top right, is the space. Interior is all open plan with exposed steel structure. So again, this building is what you see is what you get. You know, for a lot of times, I do not try to hide away things, you know. So you say exposed steel column, exposed steel beam, as much as I can. Then the bottom right is the mezzanine floor. And then they turn into a homework place for the kids. And I was told that when they have a visitor, all the visitors will sleep there. Okay, the final project. This project has to be one of the most challenging one because it's very steep. And the whole site is quite big. It's about 1.4, 1.5 acres big. Not a single inch of flat area, you know, and it's quite steep. So the land has been there for a while. Then it's like 2 different owners. They didn't know what to do with it, you know, and to build, how to build, and then of course, if it's steep, it may cost a lot of money. You know, so after that, it came to me around 2018, I think around that, late 17, 2018. So it was built throughout the whole COVID area, completed it, I think 2021 or 22, I think. Okay, so it's very steep. So I'll show you the boundary. This photo show, you see, this is the boundary, this is a 6-meter setback. And this is the neighbor's land, you know. You can see the fencing here. This is another neighbor's. So even though it's a very big piece of land, but the exposure to the road here is only a small stretch only, from here to here only. And then you can see that this contour, it continuously go down, you know. So by the time your boundary begin, you are 5 meter drop, you know. So even your paga, you put it on the slope, you know. So so with this, how to solve the site issue? So we come to a conclusion that you have to park near the public road, and then this one the developer quite graciously allowed. Because another way is to deal with it is you spend a fortune cutting a driveway all the way down to a platform. And then that driveway itself could cost more than the building. Then it's really not worth it. So anyway, and then you see, and then I try to make this, and then due to it's very linear, the contour this way. So the building form to fit the site would have no choice but to be a slim and long form, you know, tucking on the slope. But even then, you see here is straight. But around here, the contour shows that the contour change, you know. See the significance is from here to here, there's a 4 contour line. That means 4 meter drop. But from here to here, there's more, you know, easily 3 meter more. You know. So this is probably, I think, one of the most challenging sites I've come across. So meaning that I park your car here, then you have to go down a ramp, then cross a bridge again towards the main building. So the building form would have to be like that. I think that's like the only way. And then the building platform, at the lower platform is about 4 or 5 stories below the public road. So that's why, unlike conventional building, bedroom, you always want to have it on top, right? So you completely cannot, you know. Even the living dining room, it has to be slightly lower than the public road. Then the rest is like you go down, 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 down. Even I dropped down 3.5 stories, still haven't reached the bottom, you know. So the bottom still another 4, 5, 6 meters. So, but given this context, as architect, we try our best you know, to navigate the site, the contour, things like that. And then furthermore, this the neighbor that's house here, so I try to keep this edge of building as far as I can away from the building. Technically, if I can be further, but you see here the contour, this is gentler, this is much steeper. So if I push the building more to here, that means the steel is going to get longer and longer. So there's a lot of these kind of factors. So at the end, this seemed to be a happy compromise of all the factors. And then in order to achieve this, we have three main floor and one lowest basement for M&E. Each floor roughly is about 3,000 square feet, roughly. And of course, with this very challenging terrain, but it presents the most breathtaking view I've ever seen. Yeah, because just now you saw some of it, you see a bit here, a bit there, but this one is like you see the whole Kara highway, the horizon, the mountain, you know. So this is something, for this project, the main inspiration comes from the view. That's it, you know. Because the site is damn difficult. Even when they build it, I saw the contractor, they can get it done, it's quite happening. It's very courageous and very happening. Even how to transfer the material down, you know. Right? Imagine you're here, you drop down 5 stories, 6 stories without a crane, you know. Because this site is located at the end of one small road. I don't even think the crane can get up there. So that's why this is, if manage to finish it, it's quite, to me, quite a nice achievement. Okay. So this is the final outcome. You can see for this one, the ground floor is like 1.5 meters below this road. I'm trying to bring it down more and more, you know. But I want the roof to still be able to be quite visible. So I cannot be bringing down 1 story, you know. That means you don't see the roof. Then it's not fair. People coming in, hey, where's your house? Hey, you cannot see anything. Right? At least you can see a nice, sexy roof, things like that. So, and then the roof must be a floating element, very light. Underneath it, all glass, you know, at least on this first part. And then given that the building is very much like a typical shoebox, then as an architect, we also try to break up frankly, the boring form. So that's why later you can see I try to carve up space externally and internally, you know. I mean, since I cannot change the form from being a rectilinear shoebox, then the only thing I can do is to carve out space here, there, to make it slightly more interesting. So at the entrance, I carve out a main entrance hall, a concrete box here, then to receive the bridge coming in. And then this concrete box here is also the first circulation element, you know, the staircase going down. This house also have a lift. But I want the staircase, as in other projects, to be, I'm always interested to make the staircase a main feature. And also, hopefully, the staircase will help to define a space. So this staircase going down through the concrete box inside out. So all these 3 floors, they are all bedrooms. And then as you can see here from the bottom looking out, there's a small pool, and then the bridge going in. So this is the ground floor. Lower ground number 1, lower ground number 2. And then this timber screen here, later you can see is a frankly leftover space. So I turn it into a sort of semi-outdoor bathroom. It turned out to be quite nice. That means you do your business outside. You can see. Yeah. So this is another view of the whole building facade. So even though this is a very sort of common box, but we try to make it interesting. And then the usage of material, the client make it quite clear from the outside. He don't want to see any plaster and paint. Inside, yes, plaster and paint. So from the outside, he want to see original material, like whether it's concrete, brick, steel, or timber, you know. So this is a concrete box you see coming in. Then is a staircase going down. And then this concrete box frame this circulation on all 4 sides. And then you can see it going down is a living room and a big terrace. Again, outdoor area for Janabai. You know, a big outdoor terrace, covered terrace, outside of a living room. So again, this living room is surrounded 3 sides by glass. As you can see from the top left, the view is really breathtaking. I think this site possesses probably the most breathtaking horizon view I've ever seen. You know, you see this view here? So imagine this is a living room, all 2-side glass, is breathtaking, and then this view that coming in, the bridge coming in, and then this is the deck. Okay, so just now I mentioned I carve out the space externally. So internally, I also want to carve out a space. Again, for the staircase. Just now you saw the staircase is from the ground to the lower ground floor, number 1. Then I don't want the staircase to repeat itself on the same place from LG1 to LG2. So I carve out another space across the hall from LG1 to LG2 for another staircase. You know, so at least when you're walking down 3 floors, you'll be continuously walking around the whole house, you know, and then enjoying the view. It's supposed to be a holiday house, so you walk a bit more. It's okay. Anyway, there's a lift. So if you're lazy, you can use the lift. And then the top right is a bedroom view. As usual, it's very nice. The furniture color is a bit funny, but and then you see on the bottom right, you have bathroom view, breathtaking view, and then another bedroom view with a concrete wall. So again, for this project, since you could have the access to view all corners, so this project compared to all the other projects is you have more leeway. But the only thing is you have to deal with the slope. Once you settle the slope and the foundation, then the rest is quite okay, you know. So this is a second staircase going down to the LG2, as the first photo on the left. Then you can see here, you're coming down here. Then coming down here, then on this side, this is outdoor bathroom, surrounded by timber screen. So some area there's no wall. So when you're doing your business, you can look out here. And then it's all surrounded by water. So you have to walk on top of a step, hop over. So it's something like we architects try to have a bit of fun. So overall effect of this house is quite satisfying, despite initially the initial construction was very challenging. Furthermore, it was built over the COVID, so the process was delayed for I think quite a while. Then the material not enough, labor not enough, but eventually this project is done. As you can see, the stilts below is still quite some distance, but we do what we can. They allowed 3 floors, we do 3 floors. Technically, you could go down another floor or 2. Okay, so I think I finished my 4 projects. I have a small summary. Okay, let me see. So in short, all these 4 projects, it shows that different inspiration is derived from different sites. Each site give a different value to the design. So for example, some they draw inspiration from terrain, land profile, some because of the view, some is a tree, some is a cluster of tree, or some from the horizon, all from different factors. And then, as you can see, each and every project, I try to find a good way to, or I wouldn't say good, interesting way of how a building sits on the ground. This is what I'm always interested in. How the building sits on the ground. Some you can see is like kampong house, like that, like with steel, some with cladded with stone, some with stone wall, some with whatever. So to me, this is always an interesting architectural question, how it sits on the ground, whether it's a big or small building, and how a building, the wall connected to the roof. Actually, recently I did another few houses, some with the whole thing is a concrete box, inside out, even the roof inside out, but don't have enough photo on time for this. So from these 4 projects, it may seem that there's a similar language, but because of the requirement. But in other projects now, I'm trying out different language, different formula, things like that. And I just finished another house with whole thing is all from concrete, because another artist. So you see, so another famous artist. So that one still working on the photo. So again, how different components of the building interact and react to one another. And then the detailing, I try my best to make it interesting. Yeah. And then very importantly for Jandabat, due to terrain, also minimum earthwork, minimum, I wouldn't say no earthwork, but just keep it as minimum as you can. And very importantly, as you can see, every single project that's presented here is different, meaning that it's unique and idiosyncratic to this site only, and to this site due to this site condition, and cannot be replicated and used for another site. So I believe this is something that's, despite all the, not an easy way of running an architectural practice, this is one thing that is quite rewarding, when you see the final outcome present itself, and you're quite happy with the work. So in short, all these factors in, and it's like relate to the topic, which is let me see, nature and terrain. Then that means architecture in harmony. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Architect Choo Gimwa, for that insightful presentation. Now we will proceed with Q&A sessions. I would like to invite Architect Rin Tan on stage to join me moderate the Q&A session. You can scan the QR code on the screen to pose your question in the Slido. We will read through from that. We'll have a quick 2 minutes water break for our speakers. In the meantime, you may pose your question in the Slido.
Test.
All right. Thanks, Architect Choo, for the wonderful sharing. So for those of you who have questions, feel free to scan, and then you can key in your question to Architect Choo. So today we will have around 10 minutes of Q&A section. While waiting for questions from others, I would just like to ask a few questions, which I personally very interested to know, because having seen your 4 projects that you presented, most of them are very topical and they are all completed with raw finishing, like raw brick, raw concrete and all that. How do you achieve this sort of appearance? Do you do a lot of mock-up, or you actually filter through when you actually tender out for the contractor?
Number one, we take into account some of the detailing. That's why I'm doing for example, my tender drawings in A3, for small house, easily 120 sheets. A bigger house, 150 sheets is quite common. So for example, the off-form concrete wall, it will be part of the structure. That means the column and beam all inside. So for example, if column and beam all about 230, then I will most likely make the wall 230 thick. So it seems seamless. So when they cast in one shot, so it's not that I do the engineer design concrete and beam. After that, I add on a wall. So it's from the beginning, take into account. Then I have to be quite tough and meticulous with the engineer. So not many engineer can take it. One wall they have to do many times. So I work, but fortunately I know one engineer who can work with me, then they more or less know what I need. So for example, if a steel column would sit on a concrete beam, steel column, for example, is 254 by 254, then your concrete beam will have to be maybe 275 or things like that. So you have to go from the beginning. Then if you have a solid brick wall, solid brick wall, if it's an extensive wall, you may need stiffener. Right, you may need a beam. So if you want a solid brick wall, it's different. That means you have to go outside the structure, So meaning that the beam underneath it will have to be thickened to allow for this extra. So a lot of detailing. So that's why, as I say, it's not an easy thing. So sometimes it takes a long time to do the detailing, to get up to. And then if you have all steel, then it's another question.
Just on top of this, since you mentioned you have so many tender drawing, how long is your time spent to prepare this construction drawing or tender drawing?
A few months. For bungalow, I consider a very small project. So it's normally about 2 to 3 months. And then on top of that, we check the engineer's drawing like hawk. So engineer sometimes cannot tahan. So sometimes 5 mm, 10 mm, cannot redo it, So, but after a while, they get used to it. So it's not easy, because sometimes, a lot of times, as you know, when they build the structure, they follow exactly only the engineer's drawing, right? They don't care about your 100 sheet of architectural drawing. It's the engineer's drawing. If engineer's drawing did not allow for all this detailing, then that's it. Then if you want to change, it will be a VO, there will be a nightmare, a lot of argument, things like that. So a lot of times, we check engineers' drawing many times, Honestly, many times. Sometimes there are times they have, for example, we corrected like 25, 30 detail, and they updated except the 5 detail they didn't do. Sometimes engineers say, oh, never mind, I'll do it later, very busy. Then sometimes they forgot, I also forgot. Then when it goes on site, then you say, oh no, So now I tell them that even there's 1 or 2 or 3 detail, they have to complete it. Because so that when you build on site, everything is smoothly. Even for bungalow, this kind of 5, 10, 20 mm is everything, Sometimes you see a funny beam running here, there. So a lot of work.
Thanks, Architect Choo. Thanks for letting me know I'm not the only one who correct the engineer drawing.
Yeah, we're like a nightmare.
Yeah, looking at all the 4 projects, the outlook, the appearance of the projects are much similar, in terms of using wood, glasses, and steel. Just wonder, how do you approach material selections in ensuring the longevity and also the future maintenance to adapt in the tropical climates, especially specifically for terrains side?
Because in Malaysia, as you know, most of the foundation structure mostly RC, you know, and from time to time, some of the column I change it to the steel, but to make a steel beam, I think I was told very costly. Then you need to use a bondex and all these things, so it's a cost factor. So I try, but if you can notice that recently, a few days ago, the Los Angeles fire, the only house left standing in one neighborhood is Tandok Ando's house. You know. All concrete. That one is bought by Kenya West, but then he sold it to someone else a few years ago. All concrete, you know, and the glass surprisingly still intact. The whole house looks complete, whereas all the projects on the left and right all burned down, you know. So I thought, hey, concrete is good, you know. So coming back to what here, we have it here, but in terms of maintenance, I think no matter what material is maintenance, it requires regular maintenance inside. Like the one project, the small project, he said he have one guy there, 2 or 3 workers just to maintain the house, you know. You know, he doesn't like lizard. This is something else. Doesn't like lizard, so whenever he sees a lizard, he catch lizard, you know, crawling on the wall. So it's very different. Then recently, the artist house that I just completed, all concrete, it start to get moldy, you know, over time. The whole house moldy. So that day before taking photo, I asked him, do you want, I can ask contractor to clean it for you. Then he said, no, I like the moldiness. Then I said, oh, you really like the moldiness? It's like green patch here and there. Okay, I guess he's an artist. So it's a different expectation. But interior, I think it has to be sparkling clean. Because you stay there 24/7. So I'm not sure if I answer your question.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. Yeah, another thing is I'm looking at all the projects. I mean, the quality of workmanship, construction-wise, is looks nice. But just wondering how you control the contractors. I mean, to ensure that the constructions or the workmanships are like to your satisfaction.
Actually, if you look at it from a photo, it looks nice. But no Photoshop.
No, but I visited one of it. It's still nice.
Yeah.
I told the other project that.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay, but could be better. Could be better. But then sometimes, you know, you try contractor, you think, could be better. Then you try contractor, hope that it will be better. Then you think, oh my God, it's so much worse, you know. So I guess this kind of workmanship is very subjective. After so long, I guess you have to be a bit realistic, you know. And furthermore, nowadays with this kind of market sentiment, client always try to press the price down, you know. Go for the cheapest discount. So I don't know how to maintain the highest quality. You know, we try our best. Whatever we can see, we can deal with. Because sometimes the way they work, the certain detail is very fast. You go to site, then you tell them, oh, I want A, B, C. 2 weeks later, you go back, oh, different again. Hey, didn't I tell you A, B, C like that? Then I say, oh, I forgot. This one, you know. Then you cannot. Quite not easy to ask them to hack and redo it, then the whole thing will be delayed, you know. Yeah, so we constantly try to find the right balance. And there are a few contractors that you commonly work with, and you hope that those contractors with this kind of expectation can continue to work with you. At least they know what is your standard, you know.
One more thing, just wonder in terms of like during the construction ongoing, do you find or find any challenges like during your construction on site? You found that there is a challenges that you need to change your design along the way, or either the design was like originally was that like that, and then it remains as it is until the completions, or do you find any challenge that will need you to change the design?
So far, not really to that extent, but in the early days, because of the inaccuracy of the survey plan, sometimes we need to slightly adjust the position, footprint, things like that. You know, and So far, it hasn't reached that. But just now you saw the small project where the boulder is. Actually, it just missed the building by 2 meters. So if it come 2 meters, well, then we have to move the building. But in the early days, before I set up my practice when I was still working for others, so there was one project, they discovered the whole foundation is 1 mega piece of rock, So I remember at that time it's quite tough, unless you cannot blast, because the rock is probably consists of half of the site, right? You cannot drill. So what do you do? So at the end, the engineer at the time, now retired, they have footing, but they drill steel bar, they epoxy grouted, the footing onto the rock. So the building is safe till today, So it's been, I think, 25, 30 years, So that is one thing, the most difficult I've seen. Yeah.
Since we talk about the construction, having completed the construction on the slope as well as on the flat land, can you just share with us a bit, what's the average construction cost per square feet? Or maybe you can just let us know, what is the additional cost in terms of slope construction, especially in Jalan, where you mentioned there's a limitation in terms of, is it the prelim cost higher only or the entire construction cost?
Yeah, in Jalan it's not, I would think slightly more than KL. And then not a lot of contractor is willing to go there. So if whatever you think the market rate in KL, 400-500, now maybe you allow maybe 10% or something more. Unless the contractor is already have project there, then they save on preliminaries, So, but in terms of cost, in Jalan, don't forget, as I say, the driveway also constitute a big part of the cost. 2020, around there, I did a house. It's the house is on a 10-story elevation on top of the hill. That means you go find a road all zigzag all the way down and that level is about 10-story tall. So imagine it's on top of the hill. It's some really breathtaking view. But during designing, I keep warning the client, you go out, the road is going to kill you. The road going up. So they say, hey, no, it won't be expensive one. I want a view. I advise them to put it on a half hill. So at the end, we design everything, go for tender, coming out. The road is more expensive than the building. So that means if the budget is whatever, you need to double up in the budget. So obviously that aborted that project. Cannot be built. Yeah. So some of the road, it costs maybe 100,000 or 200,000 maybe can be built, or 200-300, depending on some road you need retaining wall on both sides. And then some road you stretch for 15 meters, some 35 meters. So I guess just on the volume of concrete, you can roughly estimate the cost. So, and then also other costs that you have to take into account. But in Jalan, the soil is quite stable. So most of the projects, RC footing is good enough. But 25 years ago, I did one project, it's next to a river. So the sand below is very loose, so they need micropiling. So there was 2004, 2005. So the micropiling itself could at that time it was $500,000. At that time, you build a bungalow for $500,000, you can get it. That's why much cheaper. So meaning that the micropiling itself is as expensive as a house. So it depends, So all these factors and then also the steepness. Whether you need retaining wall for the building, retaining wall at the back, things like that. But generally, the cost per square feet of the building is quite similar to KL, maybe slightly more. But the only thing compared to flat KL land is it has more retaining wall, more protective measure, more drainage, things like that.
Yep. One more thing is just one that not everyone has been able to get a project in Jalan with all this terrain. Just wonder, do you feel do you have any encountered special regulations for developments for in the terrain side? For example, exposed steel structure, does it has required to have any fire coating requirements or fire retardant paint requirement?
For bungalow, it's not so strict for bungalow. It's not so strict at all. No, in short, you don't need. In fact, if you need that, then maybe all the steel column you have to fire coat it around. So for bungalow is not so.
Okay, all right, good,
Yeah.
good to know that. Just one last question. Can you maybe share with us how the terrain inspire your design process, and are there any specific elements that you look for in designing?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
Can you share with us how the terrain inspires your design process? Are there any specific elements that you're looking for when you're designing?
Okay, there are quite a few factors. Every piece of land is different. In short, I always told the client, sometimes they want to buy a very steep piece of land. So, of course, the infrastructure, the protection will cost more. But usually it's cheaper nobody likes it. So you can buy it, but spend more money on the infrastructure, on the protection. But usually the steep land, usually the view is quite nice, because you don't have a neighbor, you don't have a neighbor to look at. The flat piece, of course, easier to build, and then of course chances of you looking at neighbor or neighbor look at you is smaller. So just now, as shown by these 4 projects, all sites present different level of inspiration. Some, as I say, I look at like the deck house, all this is more like cluster of trees, where you can touch a tree, these things like that. Whereas the small haven is actually a platform where the owner can engage the land and the rocks and all these things. Whereas the last house, the very steep, is more like the view, only the view, because you cannot touch anything. It's so high up. Yeah, it's a view, it's really breathtaking. And then Canvas Hill is a bit of everything. You look at the Genting Resort, you have a Chinese courtyard, you have the Moon Gate, you have all these things. So I guess being an architect, you find joy in every project.
Right, thanks, Architect Choo.
All right, okay. Thank you, Architect Choo Gimwe, for that interesting sharing. So please give a round of applause to Architect Choo.
Thank you.
All right.